No, I wouldn't do that. Right. Acts chapter 10. I know it, man. About ready to kick off on the class, Acts chapter 10. It's kickoff time. People understand kickoff. That's right. Oh. Hope everybody's doing good this morning. We have sure a great sermon to hear this morning. It was great sermons to get you motivated for class so that you can hang in there long enough to get through it with me. I appreciate you all very much. Acts chapter 10. I don't know if I said Acts chapter 9 or not, but it's Acts chapter 10. We had just begun reading the first few verses of Acts chapter 10 last week. We are getting into what I think is a very, very exciting part of Acts, because we're about to start looking at the first Gentile converts to the New Testament Christianity here. Almost 2,000 years ago, we see where we came from here. And I just, I kind of think about things like that. It's the year 2026. We're in the Western Hemisphere over here. We're still disciples of Christ, and still following the teachings of the Holy Spirit through the Bible. And we see how the Gentiles were, their acceptance is seen by the Jewish people here. But let's start out just by reading, starting at we've read a few of these verses last week, but it says, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band, a devout man and one that feared God with all his house and gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. So he was a centurion, and I think, I could be wrong, but about 6 centurions are mentioned in the Bible, and usually in a favorable light. And these were Roman soldiers. Now, would this be a man with authority or? Sure. That's right. And he said that he was a centurion, which century is 100. That's right, 100. So what I understand it to be, based on things I study, is this man was a man of authority in a Roman army, and he was over probably 100 soldiers to command them. But he was also part of what is called the Italian band or cohort, which is a group of maybe 600 plus group of soldiers, over which he has authority over 100 of those. But it was a regiment, it's called in some translations. So he was a man, and has described him as a devout man and one that feared God. And so there were always people, even outside the Jews, there were people that always showed respect and feared God, the God of heaven. And he prayed. He prayed to God. And it says he saw in a vision, evidently about the 9th hour of the day, an angel of God coming into him and saying unto him, Cornelius. God has spoken several ways to people across the ages. And one way is through dreams. He's came to people in dreams. You remember we talk about sometimes that famous dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, where Daniel broke down the 4 major kingdoms that were to come along the way, and now the Roman Empire would come to church. Well, other ways are through visions. I recall when we studied the book of Revelation, it says, I was in the Spirit. John the apostle said, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day when he received that vision. And I would say that was something like what Cornelius was saying here, because an angel of God came to him. And it says in a vision, and saying unto him, Cornelius. And when he looked on him, he was afraid, and said, What is it, Lord? And he said unto him, Thy prayers and thine alms are come up for a memorial before God. God recognizes the good that Cornelius has done here. He sees it, and he's letting him know through the angel that it's come up as a memorial before him. And he said, Send men to Joppa and call for one Simon, whose surname is Peter. He lodgeth with one Simon a tanner, whose house is by the seaside. He shall tell thee what thou oughtest to do. Well, Simon that Peter lodged with was a tanner. Well, what do you think that might be? A tanner.
A leather worker.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
A leather worker.
A leather worker, yes, that's right. I thought it was somebody laid out in the sun all the time. No, it was a tanner, one that tanned hides and everything. And as history proves, is that that was a good place to do it, because this was a job that has a lot of foul smells and things to it, as history tells us. And a lot of, dead animals, carcasses. and skins and everything. They would be there. Not only the salt in the water that would help with the hides, but it would also help with the smell as the breeze and everything. The location of this tanner that he was with. And he said that Peter, the one that he was called to, was at that house by the seaside, and he would tell what he ought to do. And when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called 2 of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. I never really, there's so many things that I look over, but you know, the Bible is so detailed and specific when you really take each verse at a time. I mean, it even tells who Cornelius summoned to go search for Peter here. It was 2 of his household servants and a soldier. Those were the people that were going on the journey for Cornelius. Why he chose those particular people, we don't know. But he did. But we know the soldier was devout, and these people waited on him continually. I guess it was somebody that he could count on. So he chose them. And when he declared all these things unto them, he sent them to Joppa. So he sent these 3 people, just like the angel had told him to do. On the morrow, as they went on the journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. So as you can envision this vision that Cornelius had to send for Peter had happened, and now Peter, in another location, has gone up on a housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry, and he would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance. So, sounds like me sometimes. I fall into trances when I'm waiting on something to eat, but that's what happened right there. They were preparing a meal, and he now goes into a trance just like Cornelius did. And saw heaven opened and a certain vessel descending unto him, and it had been a great sheet knit at the 4 corners and let down to earth. Now he's seeing this in a vision, wherein were all manner of 4-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. He's seeing a sheet let down from heaven. And he sees all these unclean things that are in it, unclean animals. We'll know that by the next verse, and you'll know that as you study the Old Testament, that the Israelites were prohibited to eating certain things that were deemed unclean, which is remarkable when you go and just study that too, because back in those times, things such as pork, if it were undercooked, it could kill you. And so God always knew best for mankind in whatever stage he was in, how to protect them. Things were always right in the Scripture. So back then, God had deemed these things unclean at that time. And in verse 13, and there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. He's telling Peter in the vision to kill these animals and eat them. Now, it was interesting to know what Peter says. In verse 14, but Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. Peter stayed away from these things, being a Jew. And he says, I've never eaten anything unclean. So he has a little, he's caught here, and he kind of hesitates. What's interesting about that? Does anything come to your mind about that? Peter, the one that preached the first gospel sermon this side of the cross that we read about in Acts 2, has hesitation about eating something.
He doesn't have hesitation about much of anything.
But this here he did.
It is kind of a shock.
That's right. Well, are we prohibited from eating clean and unclean animals in the New Testament? No. Now there's prohibit against blood, but I remember a preacher said one time, if you want to skin out a pack rat and eat it, just cook the blood out of it. But you're free to do so. Right? You can.
Chicken gizzard is in that same aisle.
Chicken gizzards, yeah, and chicken livers. That's right. That's right. You can, yes. Everything's to be received with thanksgiving. So, but Peter is under the new covenant, and he still has hesitation. That can only mean that as God's will's revealed, they're learning as they go. There's some things that are not even clear to Peter the apostle as he's learning, as God's revealing his will to him, because Peter sees a problem with eating the unclean food here.
They go by what they've been told and learned because they don't have the written word.
That's right. Richard said they go by what they've been told. They don't have the written word. So even the inspired apostle here has been giving revelation and learning as he goes. That's the great thing about having the whole Bible here before us. We have a completed revelation. We have all the teachings, as is in Peter. Everything that pertains to life and godliness has been given to us, so and revealed to us. But they're taking these things in stages as the Lord reveals them to them.
Well, also Peter was a fisherman too, so there's it ain't a lot of fish, I'm sure, along with the bread.
Sir, I missed the first
Peter
part.
was a fisherman, so there's
Uh-huh.
a lot of fish
Sure.
instead of just raw or bloody meat.
That's right. Yes, sir. He was a fisherman and undoubtedly ate a lot of fish. So, a voice spake unto him again the second time, what God has cleansed, that